You know that moment when your mind won't stop talking, even when nothing is wrong? Some people ignore it, but for an overthinker, it feels like living with a fire alarm that keeps going off for no reason. It steals your focus. It drains your energy. And the strange part is, your brain thinks it's helping you. Today, you'll see why this happens, and the single shift that can help you break out of the overthinking loop. Overthinking starts when your brain believes you're in danger, even when you're not. It happens because your mind is trained to search for threats, so it scans every word you said, every choice you made, every possible outcome. It's not trying to stress you, it's trying to keep you safe. But here's the twist. Your brain learns this habit from your past. If you grew up in a space where you had to get things right, your mind learned to stay alert. It learned that mistakes were risky, that being calm was risky, that it had to predict everything to protect you. This is why small things feel big, why simple choices feel heavy, why your mind won't let go even after the moment is over. And the more you think, the stronger the loop gets. Your brain starts to believe that thinking is the only way to stay safe. But there's one thing that breaks this loop fast, and most people never use it. The fastest way to break the overthinking loop is to interrupt the brain's danger signal, not by forcing yourself to calm down, but by showing your mind a fact it cannot ignore. That fact is this: you are safe right now. When you name what you feel, I'm worried or I'm tense, your brain slows down. It shifts from survival mode to thinking mode. This simple act is called grounding, and it gives your mind proof that the threat is not real. And here's why it works so well. Your brain can't hold fear and awareness at the same time. When you notice your thoughts instead of fighting them, the loop weakens. The alarm gets quieter. Your mind starts to settle. Most overthinkers have never tried this. They jump into fixing mode, planning mode, and worry mode. But overthinking is not a problem to solve. It's a signal to understand. And once you train your mind to see the signal, something surprising starts to happen. Overthinking feels loud, but it starts with something small, a tiny spark of doubt. Your brain notices that spark and treats it like a fire. So it adds more thoughts, more questions, more what-ifs. Soon the spark becomes a storm. But here's the part most people never hear. The brain only does this when it thinks you can't handle what might happen. Overthinking is your mind trying to take control for you. The way out is not about thinking less. It's about showing your brain that you are not in danger. Then ask yourself, what is the one thing I know for sure in this moment? This question pulls you out of the future and back into the present. It reminds your mind that you don't need to solve everything at once. Most overthinkers never do this. They chase answers instead of pausing. But when you ground yourself in one simple fact, the whole mental storm starts to settle. And once it settles, something important rises to the surface. When the mind settles, you can finally see the real cause of overthinking. And it's almost never the situation itself. It's the fear underneath it. Fear of being wrong, fear of being judged, fear of losing control, fear of repeating something from the past. These fears don't show up loudly. They hide inside the thoughts, so you don't notice them, but they drive the loop. And once you see the fear, something powerful happens. Your mind stops fighting itself, because the moment you name the fear, it loses its grip. This is the turning point. Not thinking harder, not trying to fix the thoughts, but noticing the fear that sits below them. And once you see that fear clearly, there's one step that shifts everything. The step that changes everything is simple. Tell your mind what you need, not what you fear. Most people talk to their thoughts by repeating the worry. What if I fail? What if I say the wrong thing? What if this goes bad? But your mind listens to the tone, not the words. When you speak from fear, it responds with more fear. When you speak from clarity, it responds with calm. So instead of saying, I don't want this to go wrong, say, I want this to go well. Instead of, I'm scared I'll mess this up, try, I need a clear first step. This tiny shift sounds small, but it changes the direction of your mind. It stops moving toward danger and starts moving toward action. And once your brain feels a sense of direction, the need to overthink drops fast. Because overthinking isn't about too many thoughts. It's about not having a path. And when you give your mind that path, something unexpected begins to happen. When your mind has a clear path, it starts doing something strange. something most people never notice. It begins to test the quiet. At first, the silence feels wrong. Your brain is used to noise, planning, replaying. So when things get calm, it checks to see if it should start the loop again. This is where many people fall back into overthinking. Not because the problem is returning, but because the calm feels unfamiliar. Your brain has spent years believing that being alert keeps you safe. So peace feels risky. Stillness feels suspicious. Silence feels like something must be missing. But this moment, the moment when the calm feels strange, is actually the doorway out of the overthinking world. And if you can pass through it, something shifts on a level most people never reach. Your mind reveals the one thing that has been running the whole show from the start. When you reach that strange calm, your mind finally shows you what has been driving the overthinking all along. It's not the fear of the situation. It's not the fear of failure. It's the fear of being unprepared. That fear is old. It formed in moments where you felt you had to stay ahead, stay alert, or stay perfect just to feel safe. Your brain learned that the only way to avoid pain was to predict everything before it happened. And that fear has been running your thoughts ever since. But here's the twist. The moment you see this fear clearly, your mind waits. It waits for what you do next. Because what comes next is the part most people never discover. And it's the step that decides whether you leave the overthinking world for good or fall right back into it. And when your mind waits for your next move, this is the moment that decides everything. Because the brain only needs one signal to break the entire pattern. One signal that shows it you no longer need the old habit of staying alert. Most people never send that signal. They freeze. They hesitate. They slip back into the loop without even noticing. But if you can take this one next step, the step that tells your mind you're ready to live without the constant noise, the whole structure of overthinking starts to fall apart. The only question left is, will you take that step, or will your mind take it for you?